Welcome to the Chelsea Roar with me, your host, Ian Kelly, the Chelsea Football Podcast by a fan for the fans. And listen, tonight we are fans. We're an upset group of fans, but albeit we are still fans. Chelsea 3, Real Madrid 2. That's as good as it gets. We beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. I suppose you could take some solace in that, but either way, we go out tonight. And joining me tonight is a good friend of mine, a fellow co-host on the On the Slab podcast, and of course, a co-host of Retrotainment as well, another great podcast where the boys they do very fun stuff like recast films and with modern actors and stuff like that. So go and check that out. It's a YouTube channel, well recommended. But Greg is a Man United fan, and true to my word, when I said I'd build this show, I will bring on people sometimes that want to throw a bit of bait our way or want to have a little bit of a debate or whatever it may be. But Greg's a good friend of mine, and he said he'd jump on the show just to do a little small kind of match review. Greg, first and foremost, welcome to the show, my brother.
What's happening, homie?
Not a lot.
Well,
I'm not smiling, but I suppose I'm internally raging actually, but but I'm smiling
uh,
because I got to be a professional, right?
it is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it
Um,
is. It is what it is. It's the mighty Real Madrid. When your team is going up against the mighty Real Madrid, and I don't say that in any in any bullshit context. I mean that they are the mighty Real Madrid, and you expect to go to the Bernabeu getting nothing sometimes. But we come
it's
in with
very, very rare.
yeah. Um,
Very rare.
Obviously the damage was really done with that Mendy back pass, wasn't it, in the first leg? That's really what it came down to. They're the fine margins we talk. I know the damage. I'll pass it over to you now. I know the damage was done with like two worldies with Rudiger. Or
They
sorry,
that one I wouldn't count them as damage. They were just world class. They were unstoppable.
yeah.
Um,
Any team would
but
could come to that.
Chelsea never showed up in the first leg. They showed up for 20 minutes. Um, the game could have been worse than 3-1. Probably should have been worse than 3-1. Now, you probably deserve the second goal because you played really well for 20 minutes.
Well, I
But
think in I
Real
think in
Madrid
the
could have
second
had,
half, to be fair, I think there was a I think realistically, I went back and watched the match again today. Um and like there was a 30-minute spell from Real Madrid, and that was it. It was a 30-minute spell where we done ourselves in. And then obviously if you take into account the first, 5 minutes obviously of the second half where Mendy hands it to hands it to Benzema on a plate, you're going fuck.
yeah.
But the rest of it, we were pretty. Yeah, I think you're right. I think a second goal would have been justified, but the first half was the first leg. Should I say was where the damage was done? Um,
Yeah.
and I
Like
think
I said to you, I think they're out before that. And like it would have been worse if it had been away goals. Now I do think Madrid were probably unlucky in the first game not to come away with more goals. As you said, the 30-minute spell where they were electric, but they kind of controlled things. Like Chelsea had a lot of possession, but it was possession in front of Real. They weren't penetrating. And then they had that 20-25 minute spell where they were creating chances again. Don't get me wrong, Havertz took his goal very, very well. And he probably should have had another one tonight, but a great save from Courtois.
But you
Um,
look at that then and you go, right, Diaz Piliqueta shot where it was that world class save from Courtois. You look at that point, then
oh,
then you look at that point blank header from Romelu Lukaku. You know
he is a fucking donkey.
exactly. So there's two more goals that makes it 3-3. Do you know what I mean? So it was a case of Chelsea also not taking their chances. It was
And then, well, then again, you have to say Mendy tipping one over the bar from 4 yards.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
Uh,
That's what I'm saying. There's
but
fine
like
margins.
you're paying big money for keepers, and that's why you're doing it. But
Yeah.
I just think the way Madrid controlled the first game, especially away from home, probably done them enough to get through. No, I didn't expect the collapse that they had tonight. It took them to go 3-0 down to
But you
wake
see,
up.
that's why I brought you on tonight, because I'm troubled by that word, the collapse. Like, you could say
Well,
then that Chelsea had a collapse in the first leg, because it's not just that Real
Chelsea
Madrid.
did have a collapse,
Yeah.
and I said that last week.
Oh, no, not you. I'm not
Oh,
saying this at you, plural, but what I'm saying is a lot of Twitter
yeah,
fans and, football fans in general. Chelsea, the same way Real Madrid caused Chelsea to have that collapse in the first leg, Chelsea caused Real Madrid to have that collapse in the second leg. They couldn't deal with the press. I thought Mason Mount was absolutely phenomenal in the first half, and
yeah.
how he
He
ran.
was probably man of the match.
Took his goal absolutely phenomenally. Timo Werner, my God.
I was, as it says in the group chat, I was literally in the process of writing or sending in the voice note going, he's been absolutely desperate in front of the goal for Chelsea since signing him, really. But I'll tell you what, I'd play him over Lukaku any day.
Listen, last two games he's been phenomenal. It's like finally the RB Leipzig team almost turned up. It's crazy what's happened. And obviously, the nail in the coffin then was that Benzema header, where I think we're looking slowly, and I don't want to say this with any disrespect, but I think we're slowly starting to see the decline in N'Golo Kante.
I don't think so.
Well, he was.
I don't. I know he tried. I know he tried to hack him down, but
He was very
losing it
bad.
once isn't.
It was very bad in the second half tonight, especially in the latter stages of the half.
But
But the problem is, is what you got in return. You take Kante off, you've got either Sell or you've got Jorginho. I think the biggest, I think really, and this is not a knock on Tuchel. I think the substitution for Timo, because Timo didn't look tired to me, because he does seem to be a little ball of energy, doesn't he? I don't know, maybe he's sponsored by
yeah, but
Red Bull as well.
even with Leipzig, he was running 90 minutes.
Just
He'd run
non-stop.
every day.
Pulisic really cost us the game tonight, man. Like, you look at the chances Pulisic had when he came on, and you're thinking if Timo or Hakimi are in those positions, that at least one of them's going in. Pulisic, unfortunately, just didn't. It's the same as the first leg. He just listen. It's all well and good scoring against Costa Rica and Panama and all these teams and being called the David Beckham of American football, but he really needs to step it up big time. And he has the potential, Greg. You've seen him at times, like even in the Premier League.
When he was with Dortmund as well, he was electric.
Yeah, it's.
But then again, so was Sancho.
Yeah, it's and so was Timo. It's what I mean. So it's
well, yeah, when he was in Leipzig, but
yeah,
like the difference is, I said to you when you signed Werner, he needs that big striker to play off, otherwise it won't work. And then Chelsea tried to play him up top on his own, and it just didn't work for him.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I do like Werner.
Me too. He's
and I do hope he comes good. Hopefully not for you and you sell him on, but I do hope he comes good. I did like him at Leipzig and whatnot. But looking at it tonight, I'd have to say Chelsea have a lot to look forward to going forward. They gave everything they had out there. Madrid just know how to grind out games.
If you're a Man United fan, if it was your team tonight and you were going into that second leg 3-1 down, obviously to Real Madrid, going to the Bernabeu and expecting something, on I suppose out of 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, how proud would you have been of your team if you got that response?
You'd have to say, yeah, you'd have a 10 when it's 3-0, right? Then you just have to get your foot in the ball for 5 minutes and settle it down. And Chelsea looked like they went to a ball of nerves as soon as they went 3-0 up. Yeah. Reece James, I'm not sure what happened to him for them 5 minutes. Even Thiago Silva looked like it just got to him. Like going 3-0 up at the Bernabeu is no joke. And like even 3-1, you think forced extra time and see where you go. But once it went to extra time, there was only going to be one winner, in my opinion.
You could see Tuchel as well, the frustration of him, couldn't you? When we could see that goal, because it was just needless. Yeah.
But like that's football all over, isn't it? You get ahead and you know exactly what you need to do. Get your foot in the ball now. Get your big players on it and hold the ball up, move it around, make them chase you. They're chasing the game now. Make them run, and literally just kept hoofing the ball back to them, and like Vinicius tore Reece James apart in the first half, and then did nothing in the second half, and then he finally got back to them.
Well, he tore
Um,
him apart for one moment in the first half. That was it.
he was
That
free
was
down
it.
that side the whole time. Modric was pinging balls in over the
Yeah,
top
but
to
like
him.
I don't know what game you're watching, because like even the lads watching were turning around saying he's not getting by him. When they were 1-on-1, it was a different story. It was completely different story.
The second half, he was the two lads, him and Benzema, were gone. They just weren't there.
The problem with Benzema is, though, like
He's
he is. I mean,
just a different animal now, isn't he?
he's legit. Like, I mean, if Benzema's in that Chelsea team, you know what I mean, where you have that pivot, like you're saying, that striker that can play, that Werner or someone can play off. Benzema's in any team, to be fair, you could say that. But in terms of how you want to play, he really is a real proper candidate for the Ballon d'Or, in my opinion. Should probably get it.
I don't think he should. I think Salah will get it. Um,
I don't think Salah should get it
I
ahead
think
of.
it's between Salah and Lewandowski, and Benzema will be the top three. I can't see anyone else near them. Now,
Yeah,
that might change if Real Madrid go and win the Champions League. But I think Salah will win it.
I
I'd be
personally think it'd
surprised.
be. I think it'd be a disgrace if Salah got it ahead of Benzema, because I mean Benzema has more goals, right?
But
Like,
Benzema is a centre forward.
yeah, but look, they're not. We don't look at the centre forwards the way we do anymore. It's the front line.
I know it's
Front
different,
line.
but
It's the front three. Do you
it's
know what I mean? It's gone are the days of, judging Crespo or Van Nistelrooy or Vieri or anything like that, where they're the classic number 9, or Ronaldo,
yeah.
the original Ronaldo. Look, couldn't begrudge any three of those getting it. I've got to be honest with you. I just think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Lewandowski has 48 goals this year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, none against Villarreal,
That's
though, right?
shocking.
Or did he score against Villarreal tonight?
He scored today, yeah.
Okay, he scored. Just not enough.
Yeah.
Just enough.
Just the one. Like,
Just
Bayern were desperate over the two games. Like, I know they had 20 whatever shots tonight, but from what I can see, it looks like they were all over the place shooting. Like,
it's strange. Do you know? It's such a strange league. Like, I mean, we have to talk about the moment that obviously all Chelsea fans are going to talk about, and that Alonso goal, the finish, by the way, on his weaker foot. My good lord, absolutely spectacular. The ball
it killed the fan in the first row as well.
yeah, it was that hard. It went through the net and killed the fan in the first row. Yeah, ball tipping up. I know you said it as well. You were like, look, it is a ridiculous decision. It's just because we've no clarity over this. It's like, it seems to be like VAR decides when it wants the handball situation to be in play. Do you think, here's a question, Greg, right? And this doesn't just go for Chelsea. This goes for many teams who have suffered these ridiculous decisions across the season, across the board. Do you think there needs to be a revamp of the rules, and it needs to be clear? Because
100%.
We're all sitting here going, right, that's the ball bounces off the defender who's trying to defend, fair enough, and bounces up into Alonso's hand, who's not actually putting his hand out up to control it. So in no way, shape or form is he at fault for that. So we've seen this multiple times in the Premier League, more so last year. The Premier League seemed to have been a little bit more lenient.
They changed it again from last year, yeah.
Yeah, last year was ridiculous. As soon as like the ball even bounced off your arm, it was like penalty.
Yeah, you could have your arms here, and it's
so. But in Europe, it seems to be. I mean, look, I'm not going to be shout out to Dazzler. I'm not going to be any conspiracy theorist here, and I'm not saying like, oh, it's favoritism, blah blah blah. But it's definitely a ridiculous decision that needs to be explained going forward in these big games. Like, I mean, this is the difference of, getting to the next round or not. Do you know what I mean?
It is and it isn't, because it's not as if it was the 90th minute when that went in. Chelsea went on to go 3-0 up anyway.
No, but it could have been a very different game, and Real could have reacted very different.
It very well could have been.
And it could have went the opposite way too. So I'm not saying that we would have went on and destroyed.
Like, the handball rule to me is a fucking joke. You're saying there about teams across the board. Like United had an awful one against them this year in the FA Cup against Middlesbrough,
I remember
where
it.
he
Yeah, I
he
remember it.
controls the ball and then passes it, but it's not a handball because he passed it off.
The ball
But
basically
that's a hand.
balanced on your man's hand, didn't it?
Yeah,
If I
it
remember
pretty much it
correctly.
was
Yeah,
going out of play, and it's like he knocked it down. Now I don't know if he meant to do it, but it kept
I
the ball
remember
in
it.
play, and it went across and it went in. But then it's a handball for Alonso because it leads directly to a goal. Do you know what I mean? There's no like the other one led directly to a goal, but because it didn't come from him, it doesn't count. And you're like, what? Like, there's no. It's like the lads are picking rules out of their head, going, "Oh, that's a handball. That's not a handball because this reason." Now, like,
Do you think a rule would suffice? Right. I've heard this, and I think I'm very much behind this. I think this goes for referees as well. And by the way, I think for over the course of 90 minutes, I thought the referee had a very good game tonight. I'm not going to die on
he
that
was he
hill.
was good. Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought I
He
thought he
got
was
the cards out
consistent.
when he needed to.
I thought he was consistent enough, exactly, yeah, with the cards and stuff. I do think that he kind of fell into the trap of Madrid's play acting. The Spanish just have a way of play acting, like I mean, and like
But
Pep
this
wrote them.
this is the game. This is the game within the game.
Yeah, it's absolutely
Uh,
phenomenal. I mean, Tuchel getting a yellow card, and like we saw Aspi getting a yellow card because he's basically your man came over and he tried to get the ball off him, and nothing, and your man going down holding his face, and it's cheating though at its finest, Greg, isn't it? And this goes for any team. For my own too. I used to hate when I saw certain Chelsea players do it in the past. I'm sure you did with your own team. It's like they really are a master of the dark arts, and the referees fall for it. Do you think the referees need to be a little bit tougher in Europe and say, no, get up?
100%.
Come on.
Like in England, you don't really get away with it.
No.
And I think that's why the Spanish and all hate when they get an English referee
Yeah.
because they're not getting away with it. Now it's not like I know you can't have an English referee
Not
refereeing
that our
Chelsea and
not that
Real
our
Madrid.
referees over in the Premier League are much better, but
They
but
do, they
they're
do, they do get the best out of players to not do it.
definitely.
But like it's not nice to see, but it's not really cheating. Do you know what I mean? They're taking advantage of a rule there that like it should be. The rule should be if you're feigning an injury and it's caught on camera, that's it. You're booked. Simple as that. Now I know it's very hard to prove that you're feigning an injury. If someone's hand comes up and barely tips you in the shoulder and you go down holding your face, obviously you're feigning an injury. But like some of the ones you're going over and into a tackle and people are rolling over for fucking 5 minutes holding their
Listen.
leg.
If there's a legit tackle and it's a legit foul, if you do it on a Spanish lad, he's literally, you may as well call his family because he needs to.
Unless you're Luka Modric in the 97th minute clattering through one.
Yeah, it's a different
Uh,
story. But yeah, look, look, there's no excuses tonight. It was quite hard to take for any football fan, I suppose, going out with that kind of performance that you had. I think
like you have to ride your luck in the games as well. You know what I mean?
But that's it.
Like the game could have been dead and buried if Benzema scored the header at halftime, just before halftime when he hit the bar. Do you know what I mean? Like there's certain points in games when you think, well, this actually might go my way now. Do you know
But
what I
if
mean? They
you're,
were missing chances. They were playing badly.
yeah, yeah.
And then obviously like you just get a bit of luck at the start of the second half with the corner that shouldn't have been that led to Rudiger's goal. And you go from there, you're 2 up, and then all of a sudden it's 3 up. Do you know what I mean? Like the first goal people are saying there's a bit of luck as well because it hit Werner and could have went anywhere. Yeah, but it still required Mount to control it and then score. Do you know what I mean? It's not as if he tapped it into an empty net.
And dude,
Do you know what I
not
mean?
only that, if you watch the goal again, it wasn't just a curler shot where he placed it like while it was placed on the ground. He actually hit it on the half volley and curled it in, which was unbelievable skill to keep it down. Because when I watched it back, I was like, fuck. He actually caught it while it was in kind of just literally above, like as it bounced up. it was just the sweet spot that he caught it in at when it was absolutely fantastic. It was a great goal, and I think that's what caught him out. And by the way, shout out. I want to say it again. Shout out to Timo Werner. I thought he really fucking
he was great tonight.
he ran that kind of he ran Carvajal ragged, and he's such a difficult player to mark because of the way he runs and the speed he has.
Yeah.
And certain players are going, all right, yeah, but we watched him. He's not a great finisher, so. But it's kind of like, well, I don't want to be the one today that he does finish.
That always happens, though, isn't it? You're like, oh, that player's not playing well, he's not scoring, and all of a sudden he pops up with 2 or 3. Like,
well, he scored 2 at the weekend. I think he hit the bar, he hit the post and both posts. So he had 3. I think it's a new record actually. That was since 2014. Aubameyang scored a hat trick and hit the post 3 times. So Werner's one behind him. He scored 2 goals and hit the post 3 times. It was unbelievable.
Don't count as a shot and target, though.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, I thought Timo tonight was absolutely fantastic. That is, I think, going forward for me, that's the front 3, without Timo, Mount, and Kai.
Do you know what? I think that was Thiago Silva's probably his worst game for Chelsea tonight.
Second half,
he was caught out, definitely caught out a few times. I thought he was very slow for the goal.
But he is 37, Greg.
No, I get that, but like normally you'll see him and he'll close them down quite quickly. Like it kind of like he stood off him. Now, like everyone's like, yeah, it was a great header from Benzema, that's fine, but like it helped by Rudiger slipping. He had all the time in the world to pick a spot. But like, yeah, it is what it is, isn't it?
I thought Rudiger was absolutely phenomenal tonight.
Yeah. He led that team from the back and he was driving them forward, and like it.
There was times when you saw him chasing back. You remember a couple of times. I don't know who the player on the right was. Maybe it was Carvajal or was it Vinicius? Who was on the right hand side for today for Madrid? We need to get
the Uruguayan fella.
Oh, Valverde. Yeah. There was a couple
good player as well.
Fantastic player. A couple of times where you're like Rudiger going, how the fuck has he just caught up with him? And he's not slow either. Jesus Christ, he's an absolute beast, isn't he? But there's a player now who you're kind of, and I suppose let's look at something a little bit different, Greg, while you're on, because obviously next week we're gonna know who the new owners are. If you're a potential
next week, is it? I haven't really been following.
Next week, yeah. It should be next week, where it's pretty much the final bids will be given to the government, and then we should know. If you're looking at that as potential new owners, you're going, Jesus Christ, that's what a game to look at. You know what I mean? Just from a neutral perspective as well. Like you guys said, from a neutral perspective, that's a fantastic. It was
two great games to watch.
2 fantastic games, and you're going, that's the world's best teams, not just those 2, but 2 of the world's best teams going at it there and giving it everything they've got. Like
that's the way it should be. It's knockout football.
Yeah. It's like excuse me. It's like sorry, my apologies. It's like we're a fan of American sports, you know what I mean? So we understand the knockout and the knockout system and the playoff system and all that kind of thing. And
it's great, so it is.
Yeah, so these American owners are coming in and going, this is fucking awesome. You know?
Yeah, but see the problem getting an American owner is they don't want sport. They don't.
Not every American owner is the same either, though. In fairness, like I shout out the FSG group. In fairness, I know they get a lot of shit sometimes from their own fans in Liverpool, but
money talks, though. Money will change an owner's perspective. And like you've seen it with Liverpool. Liverpool were delighted with the FSG at the start. Same way United were with the Glazers.
Yeah, but look at Liverpool's model though. Like they will spend that 50 million in January if Klopp wants him because he knows the budget.
No, but I'll say that as well. I wouldn't be too happy with the Glazers in terms of what they do around the club and the money they're taking out of it. But they have spent money. Year after year they spend money. Do you know what I mean?
course they
It's
have.
not about the issue of spending money. The model comes from what the manager wants and them giving the manager um, control on the players that he wants. Do you know what I mean?
100%. This is the thing now. We can spend a little bit of time, and that's kind of why I'm glad that you came on tonight, because if we do look forward to, like, say, a potential, well, it is going to be an American owner. It's going to be Todd Bowley, so it's going to be either the LA Dodgers or the Chicago Cubs. That's or potentially the
I'm
Boston
not.
Celtics.
I'm not sure what's worse.
Well, the Dodgers are a pretty good fucking team, so um, it's one of those things, isn't it, where you're going right, depending on the model, and obviously Abramovich has put in certain pieces that, curriculums that need to be abided by.
I don't think he did, because when
Oh
his
no, he
things were
did, because
seen,
it's come out today. It's literally just come out today. Even on Talk Sport, they were talking about it. Like, literally, he gets the final say. It's come out today that the final decision will
I'm
be.
not sure how he's been allowed to have the final say if everything's been taken away from
But
him. You know what I mean?
this is why it doesn't make sense, because technically he still owns it, and don't forget his assets have only been frozen.
Yeah,
So,
no. So he's going to get the money from it no matter what
oh
happens.
yeah,
But
but because
as far as I was aware, he wasn't going to have a say on
no,
anything to do with it.
well, there you go. So did I. But as of today, he's going to get the final say. His team and him are going to get the final say and give their recommendation to, to the government, and the UK government are going to have very little say. So there seems to have been a little bit of leeway. I wonder, without getting too political, I wonder, because of what he's been doing over in Ukraine or whatever, has there been a little bit of,
I don't think so. I'd say what that is him saying, "Well, I've built this club from pretty much nothing."
yeah.
You'd say, "Well, to whatever you want to call them now, right?" So they're the reigning Europe. Well, they were the reigning European champions.
Well, we still are.
Um, well, technically you're not now because you're out. You can't retain it.
No,
So
but we're
now
still the
it's,
European champions until someone takes the mantle.
but
Oh, do you know what else
like
we are? World champions.
it's a glorified friendly, pal.
Ah, fuck off. Just
It's a glorified. You're playing fucking Azerbaijan and fucking Beijing United or whatever.
we beat a country. God damn it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But no, but go ahead. No, because what you were saying there, I know what you were going on to. Basically, it's his club, and it's a case of, obviously, him being allowed to have a say, which is fucking absolutely correct, in my opinion.
Like within that though, like he says, right, this is the way it has to be run. That's fine. But if I come in and buy that club and I want to run it completely different, I'm going to change it straight away.
Oh no. The way it is, it's a case of that there's certain things that you have to do. So within the contract, within the first year, it has to be met. Like, in terms, otherwise they incur. I don't know what they incur, but look, any club or any potential buyer isn't going to spend $3 billion on Chelsea Football
For no
Club
reason.
and not address the stadium situation. Do you know what I mean? Because they know by making Stamford Bridge a 60,000 seater, it's going to bring more revenue in. They know by addressing certain contracts as well. Like, I mean, for example, like, as far as I know, the word on the street is that they're going to hand Tuchel a 5-year contract. No matter, all managers have said that they're going to do that. Do you know what I mean? One of the big things is that they've all agreed to the golden share, which is led by John Terry, which means that there is actually a fan seat on the board.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, 10% or something they're getting, is it?
Which is huge. It might sound small, but it's actually huge, because you can oppose anything. You know what I mean? As we
You can
know,
oppose it, but if you're on your own, it's not going to mean fuck all.
of course, but it's still quite big. You know what I mean? They don't want to come out. I mean, the Rickett family, do they really want to come out and be opposing John Terry in their first year? I don't think so. It's.
I don't know. I mean, you can see ex-players having go at teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but when you sign a contract for $3 billion, you sign a contract that you have to adhere to these rules, you can't really bend them until year two, you know?
Yeah, but I mean,
Uh,
you could stick to a model for a year and say all of a sudden you turn around to Marina and be like, "Get the fuck." Do you know what I mean?
well, that's it.
I want fucking, I want Ed Woodward in here.
I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, that's a good point. Now, Marina obviously has been a bit of talk, been a bit of the talk of the town for the last few days
She
because both
she won't be there much longer.
no, and apparently both groups want her. Now, there's no, I don't know where that's come from. If you're like a business model coming in, and say, for example, you're the Ricketts, where you've basically got a combined worth, with all the backers that are coming in, you've got a combined worth of about 60 billion. Like,
It's not chump change, is it?
it's not chump change. Do you think that they're going to go, well, she's not the only negotiator in town? Like, at the end of the day, like, Marina has also made some boo-boos, because this was the year where, you know, Chelsea were favourites to sign Declan Rice and your man Tchouameni, and now their stock has just gone way up this season because of Marina's penny pinching. So a lot of Chelsea fans are kind of going, don't know whether I really
I
want
mean,
her involved.
any like being a United fan, any Chelsea fan or any other fan that says that she's not worth keeping there must need to give their head a wobble. Like
I
give their
agree.
head an absolute wobble.
I agree.
Um, like putting buyback deals into players that they're sending off for 1 or 2 million and then getting them back and then selling them on again if you have to. Do you know what I mean?
Dude,
Some of the deals
case
she's
in
done is
point,
phenomenal.
they sold Morata to Atletico Madrid for 60 million. So she made a 10 million profit. They actually made a profit on Diego Costa with a year left on his contract.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure Atletico buying them is a 10 million profit that she done. She didn't do that deal. They were
No,
desperate.
no, she
But
done that. She negotiated that
his
deal. She's the
his
one.
his agent must be the single greatest agent I've ever seen, because that is the biggest hack of a football player I've ever seen. And I watched Cleberson play for Man United. How that man is
I watched
how that man
Raphael.
has gone from
I watched Raphael Scheidt play for Celtic. Do you
yeah,
remember him?
I see. He went from like Morata went from Real Madrid to Juventus, right, on loan, and then they bought him, and then he went back to Real Madrid for 50 million, and then Hughes bought him for 60 when we bought Lukaku. No,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
Hughes bought him. Yeah, was it
I
90
don't know the
million?
exact. I don't know the exact figures that were involved at that time, but they were
It
very.
was 60 and 60. I think they both went for, and then Lukaku obviously went up. I think to 70 or something.
No, Morata was.
Um,
I have it in front of me now. Morata was 50.2.
Yeah, and then Lukaku's deal overall was about 80 after all those goal bonuses and shit, which we got 77 of it back off into Milan. But like Morata then went from Atletico, was it back to Juventus for another
Yeah.
60 million or something?
No, for a loan.
Oh, he's on loan, is he?
Yeah.
Oh no, they have. Is it? They must have an obligation to buy for 60
They have.
million or something.
Yeah. But
Like
this is the second year that they have an obligation to buy.
this agent must be gone. Money, 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 money.
Well, whatever it is, but that agent obviously worked in tandem with Marina, because the fact that Chelsea made a profit on Morata is fucking absolutely mind blowing. But it just lends itself to obviously what Marina does. And look, I mean, I think it's going to come down to Marina, what her loyalty is to Roman. Um, Obviously, if she wants, but yeah, exactly. If she wants a contract and they pay her the money, then I'm sure, obviously,
She'll walk into any team and be
yeah,
like, "Yeah, I can do shrewd business for you. Here you go."
yeah.
Simple as that.
She's not too hard on the eye either. Um,
No, not bad. But it's better than that Stavely one anyway.
mm. So essentially, we're getting down to a Chelsea are out. Not down, but we're out. Still,
Well, you have to be down no matter what happens.
Yeah, no, but I
Like
mean,
the result, the result.
not down in the sense that we still have a lot to play for in terms of the last 7 games of the Premier League. We're 8 points clear, of the top 4 race, so to speak, and it's just a matter of being smart now, isn't it, going forward in that,
Yeah.
and making sure that you get Champions League next year. Obviously, this weekend got an FA Cup semi-final against Crystal Palace. If you can come out of it with an FA Cup,
Should win that.
yeah, come out of it with an FA Cup final. Won't be an easy task if you meet Liverpool in the final, but we do owe them one.
Is it Liverpool and City in the other semi-final?
I believe so, is it?
Yeah, Liverpool City, I think.
Yeah. So
Wouldn't like to play either of the two of those.
Look, at the end of the day, it took penalties for Liverpool to beat Chelsea. Look, Chelsea do have a way of stepping up in games like this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Well, like tonight showed it to an extent.
yeah,
He just kind of fell into a game when Madrid started to play. He just fell into their game plan, really.
but when you look at players like Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, Reece James, all these players still under the 22 and under, you're going, fuck me, the future's bright. You know what I mean? So that's what I meant by, if you're a potential new owner, you're going, right, this Thomas Tuchel fella, the first way we can appease the fans is give him his 5-year contract and say, right, forget all this. Like, this former model of Chelsea is now gone. We have to remember that, because as soon as the new owners, this is what you were saying, as soon as the new owners go, the new owners take over, that's it. It's like we bring our own directors of football in. Maybe we set a new model where we actually had more more Thomas Tuchel influence, where him and Peter Cech. I know Peter Cech will definitely still be there without a shadow of a doubt, because of the work he's doing.
Well, they're not going to get rid of club legends straight away.
No, they're not going to get rid of everybody. So someone like Peter Cech, who's acting as a moderator between, acting like a director of football, so to speak, but they're definitely going to look at it and say, right, well, Tuchel, what do you want? Right, he wants this, he wants that. Give him his, 4 or 5-year contract, whatever. That's the first way that you appease the fans, isn't it? It's
well, you sign players down, like you could be rightly bollocks here now. Like PSG could come in and say, well, we're going to sign Rudiger for this, and there's nothing you can do about it.
But then again, he's held off negotiating with teams, which is
no, I know, because he obviously wants to stay, but he could. PSG could offer him $500,000 a week.
Oh no, 100%. But obviously, quite clearly, he knows that. But it's not about the money for him. Clearly, obviously, obviously there's money involved in it. I'm not saying it's
all about the money.
But if you're offered, say, like 300 grand a week, and someone offers you 350 grand a week, but you're happily and settled where you are, and you want to be in the team that you're in, looking at someone like Rudiger, that looks like a guy, and because of his actions, and because of a lot of the actions of certain players that have, responded in an absolutely admirable way since the sanctions, it shows that they've kind of went, no, well, we're not negotiating with anyone yet until we see what happens here with the new owners. All it takes is a new owner, as you say.
Now, like a new owner could come in and turn around and be like, you're not playing for this club, simple as that. And all of a sudden then you start, like Mike Ashley could have bought your club, put it that way. Do you know what I mean? Be thankful that there's a potential
Well, he couldn't have, because he wouldn't have passed the sniff test, because that's why that's why Rain Bank were in control of this. You know what I mean? Mike Ashley wouldn't have got anywhere near it, purely because of the sniff test that was put in place with Rain Bank. Rain Bank, literally, this is why it's taken so long, because there is certain criteria that legally binding has to happen.
Yeah, you have to be able to prove where it's coming from, where your money's coming from.
That's why Nick Candy didn't get in. No, it's not just that. That's why Nick Candy didn't get in. Nick Candy had to prove where the money came from. There was literally, I think, 200 bidders that had money, but they didn't pass the sniff test. That's why it's gone down to the
I'm sure if he wanted to get into it, he'd have got into it. I couldn't get himself into anything.
Yeah, but Abramovich would have just said, this cunt isn't coming anywhere near us. Would you stop?
Well,
Big
then again,
fucking.
I don't think he'll have the final say on who buys them either, though.
Well, he is. That's
Well, you
again,
like if you're saying he's coming out with criteria, that's fine. But
dude. It's
what's
it's
the
all
point?
it's all across Sky Sports News today. You should do your research. It's Roman Abramovich has
I
the
don't, I
final
don't,
say.
I don't research other teams.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, Roman Abramovich has the final pretty much, and his group have the final say. Like the people that have the final say at Chelsea work for Roman, so they have the final say. The UK government don't get the final say on this because it's not their money, it's not their club. They just have to basically go through the whole proper and the whole system of proper and fit owner. That's what they have to go through. It's which it's amazing that Newcastle passed that test, but sure, look, we're not going to get into politics. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's very.
Newcastle's owner executed 53 people over the past 2 weeks. It's crazy, isn't it?
I didn't know that either, but you look,
Yeah. Well, they're the politics you don't hear about. You only hear about
yeah.
Ukraine. So, um,
As
but
as
look,
it says, I listen to my own news, and that's about it.
no, 100%. Look, it's the way to be. You don't want to get into this, but as far as I'm
I
concerned,
have I have enough doom and gloom.
as do the
You
rest
know
of us,
what?
brother. As do the
When,
rest of
when you
us.
ha- when you have to play Harry Maguire week in week out, if you're enough doom and gloom every weekend.
Yeah, yeah. I feel for you on that one. You know, it's yeah.
Sure, look,
Well, it could be always worse. We're healthy, we're living, and that's the main thing. And
you could be from Newcastle.
you could be, yeah, yeah, next to be sanctioned, hopefully.
No
Um,
chance.
no, that won't happen. UK government will continue to buy oil from Russia and point the finger at everyone else. And
I mean, oil has to be got somewhere.
it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. So who's
Well,
really funding this invasion?
I mean, you can buy oil at just ask Bertie there.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. The UK government still buying oil from Russia, yet they've sanctioned Russians because they're funding the Russian uh, whatever movement, as they like to call it. But look,
I've stopped listening to the news.
unfortunately, I can't. And look, the news today is that Chelsea have gone out of the Champions League. We are no longer the defending champions. We're still champions until a new champion is crowned. So, but that's as far as it gets. Um, Greg, really appreciate you coming on.
No hassle.
Maybe talking it through has kind of made me feel better, and maybe listening to us talking shite has helped you through it, and I hope it has.
I
But
mean, I could have went the complete opposite way and wound you up to beat the band for the last hour.
there was actually nothing to be wound up. I came into a calm.
I definitely could have got you. Definitely could have got you along the way.
Not on
I've got
camera.
you off. I've got you off less. I could definitely have got you.
Not on camera. I'm a professional. Off
No,
camera,
just wait till the group
off camera,
chat.
you could have definitely got me. On camera, not a hope.
Sure.
You know, this isn't my first rodeo, Greg.
Sure,
I've been
look,
doing this for a long time. It's like second gear kicks in once I'm hosting, and it's I don't know. I get
game
transferred.
over.
Yeah, I get transferred to somewhere else. But then yeah, absolutely. Within the group context, 100%.
Yeah, sure.
That goes for all of us though. But look, until next time, it's been a pleasure. Not been a pleasure to watch my team go out tonight, but it's been a pleasure to have you on. And until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Real Madrid Chelsea review. Real Madrid go through to the next round and potentially, let's be real, more than likely meet Manchester City. And
And a tidy Madrid semi-final would be nice, wouldn't it? Imagine the play acting in that. Jesus Christ. Get about 5 minutes of football over 2 legs.
I wouldn't watch it.
I'd watch it because it's football, but
Yeah, but I'd switch off if it came to that. But
it'd
look,
be
Greg,
bad, wouldn't it?
it's been a pleasure to have you on, my brother. Thank you very much. And I'll be seeing you tomorrow for On the Slab. Don't forget to check out our show On the Slab Horror, which is also on YouTube. We're available on Facebook as well. So go and check out our page on Facebook as well. And we have all kinds of great things coming up for y'all. So until next time, this has been your Chelsea Roar. I've been your host, Ian Kelly. Very down and out, but we're not out. So until next time, chin up, ladies and gentlemen. See you next time.